Did you know your thoughts can literally influence your health? Today, we're unraveling the powerful mind body connection and how changing your mindset can lead to real physical healing. Introducing Emily, a cognitive psychologist, and Ryan, a neuropsychologist co's. Their mission? To turn cutting edge psychological research into practical, life changing strategies that you can apply right now.
Hey everyone, you ready for this? We're diving deep into the mind-body connection today. We've got a ton of research on the psychology of disease, so like how our mental and emotional states actually impact our physical health.
We're going way beyond just like stress giving you a headache. We're talking about the nervous system, the immune system, even how our genes express themselves.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this psychoneuroimmunology thing. Sounds super complex.
It is, but it's also really cool. PNI basically looks at how our nervous system and immune system are constantly talking.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just the brain sending signals out.
Nope, the body talks back. It sends messages to the brain which affect our mental and emotional states too. Like, it's a two-way street.
Wow, okay. So our bodies are constantly giving feedback. What happens when we're dealing with chronic stress?
Things get really interesting then. Our bodies kick into this chain reaction called the HPA axis. It releases hormones like cortisol.
Cortisol, yeah. Isn't that our stress hormone?
Right, and we need it to deal with threats. But chronic stress means cortisol is always high, and that messes with our immune system.
So it's like our body is so busy handling the stress that it leaves other systems vulnerable.
Exactly. There are studies on caregivers. They're under so much stress, their immune cells actually show signs of being worn out.
Makes them more likely to get sick, I'm guessing.
Yeah, more susceptible to infections, colds, but it can be way more serious than that.
Like what kind of serious stuff are we talking about?
Well, chronic stress is linked to inflammation. And I don't mean a little swelling when you sprain an ankle.
Right. Inflammation is our body's way of healing.
Yeah, but when it's constant low-grade inflammation, that damages tissues, and that's linked to heart disease, diabetes, even some cancers.
Whoa, cancer. Seriously. I mean, I know stress is bad, but how is it linked to cancer?
It's still being studied, but chronic stress seems to suppress the immune system. So it's harder for your body to fight off anything, even those cancerous cells. And there's new research that stress hormones might actually help tumors grow.
So it's not just that we're more vulnerable when stressed. It's like stress creates an environment where cancer can take hold. I mean, that makes you wonder about things like meditation, right?
You're thinking right along with the research. Mindfulness, meditation, they can help us manage stress. And some studies show those practices might actually help with some diseases too.
Wow. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, but we were talking about stress generally. Don't our personalities, how we each handle stress, play a role too?
Absolutely. Personality and health is a big area of research. Ever heard of type A personality?
Oh yeah, always in a hurry, super competitive. That was me before all this, huh? But what's the link to health?
It's not just being busy, it's the anger and hostility that often come with that personality. That's what's really bad for you.
So it's not the go, 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 it's how we handle it.
Exactly. Way back in the 50s, doctors noticed that type A folks, especially angry men, had more heart disease. A more recent research backs that up. Anger and hostility, long-term, are terrible for your heart.
Well, yeah. When you think about what happens when you get mad, your blood pressure goes up, your heart's racing. Do that enough, something's got to give.
Like slamming on your car's gas and brakes constantly. Eventually, something breaks down.
Speaking of things taking a toll, I wonder about loneliness. Did that impact our health too?
It really does. Loneliness is often seen as a social issue, but it has huge physical health impacts too. Studies are showing that chronic loneliness can be as bad for you as smoking or obesity.
Wow, seriously. Loneliness is that dangerous. What's happening in the body when someone's lonely for a long time?
Well, it triggers that same stress response we talked about. Social isolation. The body sees that as a threat. Your immune system gets suppressed, inflammation goes up. It's not just that, though. People who are lonely often don't sleep as well, maybe don't exercise as much, might have unhealthy coping mechanisms. It all builds up.
Right, it's all connected, biological and behavioral stuff. It's kind of wild how something that feels like purely emotional can have such a huge impact on our bodies.
And it really shows just how connected our minds and bodies really are. We see this even more when we look at chronic pain.
When we think about pain, like stubbing your toe, it seems straightforward, purely physical. But it's got to be more complicated than that, right?
Way more, especially with chronic pain. It shows just how intertwined the mind and body are. Think about this. Pain can stick around even after an injury heals. The brain basically learns to crank up those pain signals.
Our brains get stuck on pain mode.
It's like that. And our thoughts, our feelings, even what we believe about the pain, it all has an impact. If you're always anxious about pain coming back, or if you're like catastrophizing, thinking the worst will happen, your brain makes the pain feel worse.
Makes sense. If you're focused on it, it'll feel worse.
Sure.
But is there like science behind this mind-body link with chronic pain?
Definitely. There's this thing called the gate control theory. Picture a gate in your spinal cord controlling how much pain gets to your brain.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Stress, anxiety, negative vibes. That gate swings wide open. More pain signals get through.
So it's not that the pain's not real, it's that our brains are basically told to freak out more about it.
Exactly. But good news. Positive emotions, relaxing, even just distractions, they can close that gate. Less pain.
So someone who say chronic back pain, if they're super stressed, their pain might actually be worse because that stress is telling the gate to open up.
Exactly. And that's why things like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can be really helpful for chronic pain.
CBT. For pain. How does that work?
CBT helps you learn to change those negative thought patterns, those behaviors that could be making your pain worse.
So instead of thinking this pain will never go away, you learn to challenge that thought.
Right. You replace it with something more realistic, more helpful. Studies show CBT can actually reduce how intense the pain feels, improve people's quality of life.
That's incredible. Proof that our minds are powerful. They can even affect how we feel pain. But it's not just pain, right? Our minds can affect how our genes themselves work, that whole epigenetics thing.
You got it. Epigenetics is changing how we understand the whole nature versus nurture debate. It's not just our genes that make us us.
I'll admit epigenetics has always been kind of mysterious to me. Break it down.
Okay. So for a long time, we thought genes are destiny. You get what you get from your parents. End of story. Epigenetics says not so fast.
Our genes aren't set in stone.
Nope. They're dynamic. They respond to the world around us.
Okay, how? What's going on at, like, the DNA level?
Think of your DNA like a massive instruction manual for your body. Epigenetic marks are like sticky notes on that manual. They don't change the actual instructions, the DNA itself.
But they change how you read them.
Exactly. They flag which genes get turned on or off, louder or quieter.
So our experiences, the things we go through, they can add or remove those sticky notes, actually changing how our genes work.
That's the amazing thing. And get this, those changes can be passed down to our kids, even grandkids.
Wait, seriously, trauma, stress, whatever, that can impact our kids' health down the line.
The research is getting there. There were studies done on Holocaust survivors, really powerful stuff. The trauma they went through, it led to changes that were passed down, affecting how their kids responded to stress, even their risk for mental health issues.
Whoa. It's like our bodies remember things, even if our minds don't. But if things like that can cause these epigenetic changes, can we control them too?
That's the million-dollar question. And the early results are hopeful. Diet, exercise, even things like stress management. They seem to be able to positively affect our epigenome.
So even if you inherit, let's say, a risk for something in your genes, you're not doomed. Our choices still matter.
Big time. Our experiences, our choices, they can affect how those genes actually express themselves throughout our lives. And this brings us to another area where that mind-body link is crucial: autoimmune diseases.
Autoimmune diseases are wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your own immune system is supposed to protect you, but it attacks you.
Mm-hmm.
So where does the mind-body stuff come in with that?
It's a hot research area, but we're seeing more and more that your mental state and how active your autoimmune disease is, they're linked. These diseases, it's like a balancing act, your immune system and your own body's tissues.
And when it goes out of whack, that's when the immune system attacks healthy cells.
Exactly. Inflammation, damage, all over. We've talked about stress and the immune system. A lot of researchers think stress can actually trigger those flare-ups.
Oh, wow. So it's not causing the disease, but it's like it sets it off.
Right. Stress is the wild card that throws everything out of whack. Think of it like your immune system is an orchestra. Stress. Someone's playing the wrong notes, everything's off key.
And bam, you've got a flare-up. So someone with, like, rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, being stressed could make their symptoms worse.
Yep. Studies on lupus patients, for example, show when they're stressed, their symptoms are more intense, the disease is more active. It really shows. Stress management, it's not just for your head, it's for your whole body.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, our thoughts, our feelings. They're actually changing how our immune system behaves. But as we've been talking about this whole time, the mind-body connection, it's not some woo-woo thing. It's real biology.
100%. And the more we learn about this, the better we can take care of ourselves. It's not about never feeling stress. That's impossible. But learning to cope, making good choices, that's what matters.
So what now? We've gone on this journey, learned about the mind-body connection, but what do we do with this knowledge?
The million-dollar question, right? It's different for everyone. But there are some things that seem to help a lot of people. Meditation, yoga, that kind of mindfulness stuff. They've been shown to lower stress, boost the immune system, even create good epigenetic changes. Sleeping well, having good relationships, moving your body. Those are all things that can make a real difference.
It's like
Yeah.
we have to think about our health holistically. Our minds, our bodies, it's all connected.
Exactly. And the research is just going to keep coming. I'm sure we're going to find even more ways to use the power of our minds to heal.
This has been amazing. So as we wrap up, what's one big takeaway you want to leave us with?
The mind-body connection, it's not just some cool science fact. It's a reminder we are not powerless when it comes to our health. We have choices. We can change our habits, take care of ourselves, both our minds and our bodies.
Love that. On that note, that wraps up our deep dive into the mind-body connection. Thanks for being here with us.
As we've explored today, your mind holds the power to influence your physical health in ways you might never have imagined. By understanding the mind-body connection, you can start using your thoughts to promote healing and well-being. If you're ready to dive deeper into how psychology can transform your life, don't forget to subscribe to Cognitive Curves and drop a comment below. Let us know how the mind-body connection has impacted your life or what you'd like to learn more about.